Hey guys, welcome or welcome back. Tisha here. Today we are jumping into season 2, episode 2 of Welcome to Plathville, titled My Mystery Man. Sorry again for being off camera. It's probably going to be like this all week because I literally am cramming all of this recording into like one day so I can get my birthday festivities started. And I decided not to leave you all hanging. So we get a steamy photo shoot, awkward parenting moments, and some firsts for some of the siblings. Let's go ahead and get into it. Do me a favor and hit the like button. All right, let's start with Micah. Micah reunites with his model friend Helena for a modeling session that is going to be in a hotel room. It's clear that things have changed because this time Micah is leading the shoot in his own little way. He's making suggestions for hand and body placement. He isn't stiff and he is enjoying himself. It's a major shift from what we know as this conservative upbringing. We get topless shots of him, intimate poses on a bed, and we even get a wet shower scene. Like he is showing off his new found confidence and his body. I mean, the abs are abbing. This young man looks very good. No nasty stuff. I'm just saying, like, you can tell he's done some work on his body. He's in his boxers, he's soaping up his body, he's tearing down what he was taught, his words, and seeing that it is no longer necessary. Now, as all this is going on, Helena is proud. She admits that this is a completely different person than who she met a year ago, that there is chemistry there. We see them flirting. She even mentions how before she would say things and he would give her these one word answers. And now here he is flirting back with her. And we see throughout the shoot that she is blushing even more than he is. I mean, there are even some moments where, in my opinion, she looks like she kind of wants to kiss him. As we're on the subject of Helena, I hated her makeup. I hated her makeup for this photo shoot. She is such a beautiful girl, and I would have rather see her do more of a natural beat. I understand that it probably looks better in the photos, but what I saw on in the footage of the camera stuff with her being on our screens, I didn't really like the dark eyeshadow and the red lips. I think she looks so much prettier when she was talking to us without having all of that stuff on her face. But I also am a pretty plain girl that only wears lipstick from time to time. So I might not be the one to talk. As a reminder, Micah was raised never to show so much skin. So seeing this shift, watching him embrace the camera now to me, it's refreshing. It's a bold step in him making his way. And he says that he wants it to be known that this isn't a thing where he is rebelling against his parents. For him, it is him doing what he wants to do, and he's coming to terms with whatever that is, right? He's coming to terms with himself, which is good for him. I think that when you get into this age of adulthood, you already are rediscovering things and learning things about yourself. But it's different for him and for his siblings because there's so much that they were never allowed to explore or try to figure out, because it doesn't seem like they were really given the permission to be free thinkers when it comes to some things. So we go from the upbeat energy of this shoot to this more somber feeling that we get while we go to Ethan and Olivia's house. Ethan and Olivia are stuck at home trying to rebuild their marriage during this lockdown. I wonder if during the pandemic that they got sick of one another, because they mentioned the pandemic here and there, but it just seems like their energy is off to me. I feel like these two were doomed from the start because of all the complications that they had, not just with him figuring out who he is, but with the backlash and the back and forth that they've had with his parents. So Olivia previously received most of her income from her business as a wedding photographer. And because of the pandemic, she has lost a lot of work. People have canceled left and right on her, or they're rescheduling because their weddings had to be pushed back. So now what she's trying to do is she's trying to rebrand her business, work on things on the website. So when it's time to be up and ready to go, she's ready to go. Ethan is attempting to support her by deciding that he's going to cook, because he comes out and he's looking for food. And she's like, look, I got coffee. I was up till 1 o'clock working on this website. And here I am again working on it. You're going to have to cook for yourself for once. They have been together at this point for almost 2 years of marriage. And this is going to be his first attempt at cooking for her. This is why I have stressed to my son how important it is for him to cook. When he was younger, I used to make him make at least 1 or 2 meals a month. When things got, heavy with his workload and stuff for school, I kind of backed off a little bit. But I think we got to get back into this whole situation, because he does know how to make meals, but they're lazy. Let's be real. Mama's cooking is always going to be better than your own. I feel the same way about my mother's cooking. I can cook majority of the things that she cooks, but there's a different taste to it when it comes from your mom. Just like my grandmother's cooking is better than my mom's. I think that everybody has their specialties, but when it comes to like the heart of the islands, like my grandmother, it's next level with both of my grandmothers. Ugh, I just thought about my grandmother that passed. Anyways, it's next level. So he's deciding that on this day, even though he's never cooked, he's going to make pancakes. It's a sweet gesture, but it quickly turns to sugar honey iced tea because he doesn't know what he's doing. So he's making a lot of noises as he's trying to gather things, and he keeps asking her questions because he's trying to figure things out. But his constant questions are frustrating her because she is just in the kitchen trying to do her work. She's not trying to have to help him cook, because for all of that she could have done it herself. She ooh, y'all, I just lost my space. Hold on. Okay. So she begins to tell him how overwhelmed she feels, how stressed she feels, and that she's also annoyed because he's in there bothering her. She's trying to get work done, and she's also on her period. She's cramping. She's over it. She's ready to cry. Ethan says they were never given the tools to navigate through things like this. They weren't taught how to understand emotion or deal with difficulties in a relationship. So trying to communicate is something that wasn't a thing. Like, they didn't do it with each other, and they definitely didn't do it with their parents. So his default is to busy himself and block it out, whereas she likes to talk through things. It's just a reminder that they do not know how to regulate their emotions. And that saddens me, because I think that it adds another layer to this dynamic. But this is also why counseling is very important when you decide to merge households, or you decide that you're going to marry someone. Because when you marry a person, you marry all that comes with them. And I wonder if Olivia would have married him knowing what she knows now. So he talks about how he didn't even know what a period was until he started dating Olivia, which is ironic when you think about it, because of how many sisters he's grown up with. He's grown up with a house full of women. I think he said, is it six sisters? Six sisters, and he's never had this explained to them. If I remember correctly, my brothers knew what a period was. I know my son does. My son even knows what type of products that I use, not because I have them out in the open, but because we've had discussions, or because maybe he's picked something up for me before, or because he's seen it, in the storage area where that type of stuff goes. But we've had talks about this. He's aware of that. And also, it was taught not only at school, but in this household. Like, I told him about some things. We talked about the things that may occur in young men versus young women, because I wanted him to be informed. And I also wanted him to have someone other than myself to talk to. So I provided him with a list of adults that he can go to, that I knew he would probably feel more comfortable with about talking, about these things. And I feel like that's important. So he does apologize after, she expresses herself, and he's trying to reassure her. This does make her feel better because she knows that he normally doesn't know how to process these types of things, and she just appreciates him hearing her. It's clear to me that they need some work. So let's jump to, matter of fact, let me skip. Let's jump to Ethan and later. Okay, so we later see Ethan with his newest toy. He got a 1995 Suzuki motorcycle from the junkyard, and he got it for free. So he's going to be fixing this up. He's using it as an emotional escape. He even admits it. I think that that's nice that he has a way of escaping, but after you're done working on the bike, you're still coming back to the problems. It doesn't erase the problems, and he needs to learn how to navigate through those things. So he reflects on his past issues, and he admits that many of their problems stem from his issues with his parents and his family, and the strain revolved around his failure to stand up not just for himself, but for his wife, for not having her back. He says, despite all of this, that he is committed to not just working on the bike, but working on his marriage. I don't know. I feel like these two were just doomed from the start. So we later see Barry and his son Isaac chopping down trees together because of the conversation that he had earlier with Micah and Mariah, where Micah was like, you didn't even ever talk to us about things like the birds and the bees and intimacy and things of that nature. Barry makes this awkward attempt at initiating this birds and bees talk with, Isaac, and Isaac is feeling uncomfortable because of the way Barry is going out about it. Isaac doesn't have a problem having these discussions with his friends, but with his dad, it's awkward. Yeah, and you're like, do you have any questions? It just, this wasn't the conversation to be having with him on camera, and it seems like Barry needs to talk himself. It makes me wonder, parents, for those of you who have kids out there, or even for those of you who've mentored or anything like that, how did you guys handle these type of conversations with, those kids? Put it down below. Something else to put in, because the show really didn't have a lot going on. So we go from that to Lydia finally being allowed to spend time alone with Mariah. Kim is only allowing this because she doesn't feel like Lydia can be swayed by the others. The bitterness won't get to her. She's the grounded one. Kim continues to show how narrow minded she is in thinking that her children didn't develop these thoughts on their own. No one swayed them. It's just what they noticed over time about their parents. So Kim hopes that in keeping this sister relationship alive, that it will bring back Mariah and have her closer to the family. Understand there's always some hidden agenda when it comes to Kim and these kids. Always. So Mariah is going to cook. They ring the doorbell, she doesn't come. They knock, she doesn't come. So they invite themselves in. And of course, Kim walks in too. She wants to walk around, but Mariah isn't about to have that happen. And I'm glad that she didn't allow her to do that. She has them waiting for a while. I don't understand why she couldn't pop her head out sooner than she did, but I guess she was trying to set up her little prank. But either way, it was weird. She greets them both. She eagerly gives Lydia a hug, and she calf hugs her mom when Kim presents her with this fashion book that she saw, and she thought of her when she saw it. It would seem like a nice gesture, but as I said with Kim, there's always a motive. So Kim does end up leaving. She says how she would love to get a tour of the house, but maybe that's something that could happen later on. Mariah ends up pranking her sister for dinner with cereal, when what she really had in the oven hiding was that she made steak, macaroni and cheese, and salad. She was nervous cooking for Lydia because Lydia is the cook. Do you guys hear that? The cook. Not her mom is the cook. Lydia is the cook. Lydia has done so much for this family. I really, really feel like she didn't get to be a child. The moment that her older sister left, she got pushed into this position. She got thrusted into it. So they sit down and they have a sister talk. Lydia struggles to share that she does have a crush on a boy, but it's not someone new. It's someone that she's known for several years. I think it was said as young as 13, and it's been like 2 years since she's seen him. The boy always asks about Lydia. Like he texts Mariah and wants to know how she's doing and things of that nature. And as Mariah is telling this, we see a very childlike side of Lydia, a lot like what we're currently seeing now when here she is now when she's 20 years old in season 7, where she's still very childlike when it comes to interaction with boys because of how limited and controlled it's been in the past. As I said, it's given a little bit of Duggar thing here. The only difference is we don't see her have chaperones and stuff, but we know that it's something that she's thinking about. She wants advice, and Mariah really doesn't know what to tell Lydia because she knows that Lydia would navigate this very differently than her, and she's not trying to sway her. She suggests like calling him, and Lydia's like, oh no, I would have to talk to mom and dad about that first, y'all, to make a phone call. She needs to talk. I think she's 16 at this point. I do not recall having to ask permission to call boys when I was 16. I think I let my mom know I was on the phone with the boy if she asked, but I do not remember being like, is it all right if I call this boy? Especially since my best friend was a boy. She'd just be like, hey G, and we keep going on. Like I don't get it. Anyways, so she tells her, maybe you could write him a letter or something like that. And Lydia just wants to talk to her parents about it first. She said that she tried to, deny these feelings, but over time, it's really come up a lot that she likes him. Mariah then fills in Micah later on the conversation that they had without giving him too much detail. And he feels like whoever Lydia ends up with will be a lucky person because of Lydia's heart. She's such a good person. So we go from that to seeing Mariah get ready for her first date ever. I don't remember seeing this before. Now I know she's going to end up dating this guy, and I know it's going to end up ending in, spoiler alert, him cheating on her. But I can't remember the full dynamics of this because, as I said, I haven't watched this in a long time. And prior to this, I think I only watched like the first 2 seasons. So there's a lot of things that I don't remember. But growing up dating, she said, was wrong. Even being friends with a boy was wrong, that they were expected to pick boys from a distance and then get to know them once they got older. So we see her go on her first official date with this motorcycle riding guy by the name of Max. She's very nervous and excited and scared, but she can't wait to get to know him. She's clearly experiencing something completely new because of how sheltered, once again, her upbringing was. When he pulled up, I was like, how old is this man? I can't remember their age difference. She's given a helmet and then she hops on. Y'all, I was watching this story time. My first night away at college, getting to know people. They had the different dorms. I went to VCU, Virginia Commonwealth University, for those of you who do not know, and it is a campus that is integrated into the city of Richmond. I stayed in the oldest dormitory there, Johnson Hall. I don't even know if Johnson Hall is still around, but Johnson Hall at the time only had air conditioner on the first floor, which was the common area, right? Our bedrooms did not have air conditioner. We had heat, but we didn't have AC. So a lot of us got to know each other because our doors and stuff were open. Well, long story short, I need to get my friend to come and do a story time with me one of these days. Anyways, long story short, everybody was either on the first floor in the common area or they were hanging out outside because it was cooler outside than it was in our rooms. Well, you're standing outside, these guys see a whole bunch of, young ladies, and they pull up in motorcycles, and we all hop on. Do you know how insane that is? Now that I think about it, To be 18 years old, hopping on this random man's bike, putting my arms around him and letting him ride me through the city of Richmond. Now we had a ball. It was so fun, but they could have easily taken us anywhere. So when I saw the bike, it just reminded me of that. Anyways, so she said that getting on this bike, is freeing to her, feeling the wind in her face and through her hair. She just really, really enjoys it. So we see them go on their date. It's a wholesome date. It's sweet. And it's also awkward because as he's eating his blueberry and she's eating her ice cream, the blueberry is like stuck to his tooth. And rather than tell him, she's laughing at him. People, it tells you a lot about a person that you're dating when they don't let you know about you having stuff. I'm that person who I'm going to let you know that, oh, you got something on your tooth or there's something on your face. Like, tell me. Don't have me walking around looking crazy with blueberry. And I've never seen blueberry get stuck to a person's teeth like that. So that must have been a fresh muffin. Anyways, so he talks about, how he wasn't sure about things at first because of how long it takes her to respond. Like he'll text her something and it can take her a full 24 hours to respond to the text message. She does admit that she has problems communicating. She says everybody in their family, every last person in their family struggles with this. And she's hoping that it's something that he can help her work through. You're going to have to do the work too, hun. It can't just be on him, right? He wants to know more about her, like how it is that at 17 she moved out. And she pauses and she's a little apprehensive at first, but she does tell him some things like she has 8 siblings. We find out he has 7. And her parents are very religious, that they have a lot of rules to the point where she started asking them if she could go places, and the answer was already no. So what she decided to do was she decided to sneak out. My question that I thought of when she said this was, did she start sneaking out before or after Olivia? Because they love to act like Olivia had all this negative influence upon her, as did Ethan, when I think Mariah was acting out way before, as Ethan said, Olivia came into the family. So on the last night that I'm guessing she snuck out, she met him. And on that night, she was later asked to leave. And he's like, wow. He uses a wild horse analogy, and how he says, like, when they're out and about, you can't tame them, but you can teach them how to kind of run in a certain direction, or you can, I think he said, run in the same direction as them. I might be getting that wrong here, but y'all get what I'm saying. Like, you can't tame them, but maybe you can kind of work with them. So he's willing to work with her and accept her for who she is, which means a lot to her because that is not something that she gets often. Whenever we hear her talk, that's one of the things that she likes about her relationship with Lydia, is that Lydia accepts her for who she is, even though she may not agree with it. And it seems like she's looking for that. So that's how this episode ends. I think that there's a lot of things that we are seeing, even though this episode didn't have much to it. I think it's nice to see um how she's exploring herself, as are the others. I think that there's a lot of things that we're going to learn as this thing goes on. But I also wonder more and more about what it was that they've experienced. I don't understand how it got to this point where these young people are. Okay, what am I trying to say? I feel like for them to act like this is all new, and they're rebelling now because of Kim, I wonder just how true that is. I think that there's so much more to it, and I'm interested in seeing what happens. You guys, let me know what you thought of this episode, and I will be back with the final recap of this week on Friday. Hope you guys enjoy. Thank you so much. Be safe and peace.